Spectacular Saturday. Oh no, it's Sunday today. Oh my goodness. I'm not used to having the faces of resilience on a Sunday. And so now we are. I am very excited to bring you another life-changing and eye-opening edition of Faces of Resilience. This is your host, Furley Almonte. I hope you're doing a great you're having a great Sunday because it's kind of rainy here in New Jersey right now, but guess what? It's not going to stop us from shining the light in other people's lives. And today, that is exactly what we're going to do because we have a special guest today on Faces of Resilience. Right here, we always bring guests that actually have extraordinary stories of resilience that could help impact your life in a very, very I would say positive way, right? And so my guest, Amy Thompson, is a spiritual healer. She's a creative marketing genius. She actually does art for marketing. She also is an amazing business strategist and also a very, very hands-on awesome mom of a transgender teen. And so today we have so many different juicy topics to talk about that will help change your life and your loved ones. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you so much, Burley. Thanks for having me, and hello, everybody.
Oh my
I'm really
goodness, you look
excited about this. Thank you.
There is
Thank
a
you. Yeah,
little.
I'm actually nervous this because we just upgraded our internet. We upgraded, and it's actually gone down. So I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
it seems like
Hopefully
there's a
you guys
little
can
bit of lag. Yeah, like you're but it's okay. So I just have to give you a little bit of time to catch up because I feel like we're on live TV. When they always have a little bit of lag. But anyway, how's your Sunday going so far?
It's amazing. I started 3 weeks ago to take Sundays off, and I'm not used to it. So it's actually kind of a little weird. Very happy to be doing it. It's going well.
Yeah,
How's your
that's good.
Sunday?
We need time to give for self-care, to spend time with the family and not have all of the commitments. I need to start doing that because oftentimes we entrepreneurs, when somebody says like I am only available on a Sunday, you jump in and give up your own personal time. But so oftentimes we need to make that kind of decision, but all is good. All right, okay. I know that you come from a many different stories of adversities. As a matter of fact, Amy and I met through, um, was it the Top Talent or was it through
It,
another networking? So we
it was
was
through
it?
David Bacon's event.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay. So the
the
Top
top
Talent was a
talent.
mastermind event, and I was very quickly drawn to Amy because I would say like, oh my goodness, I love the fact that first of all she is a mom of a transgender um kid, and she is also very very good at creating content and in marketing. And so I said, okay, I know that there's a lot more to you than all of that because when we spoke I learned so many things about you. So in hopefully in 5 to 8 minutes, can you just give us a little snapshot of all the different adversities, the many challenges that you've been through over the last few years that brought you to where you are right now?
When I start to list out the challenges, people would be really surprised. I don't spend a lot of time talking about them because I don't like to go back there. But if I was to be totally honest, there would be. I'll start with the most impactful. We have had murders and suicides in our family or near, like really close to our family, like extended family. And then there's been a lot of depression and anxiety with the family. There have been addictions. There have been, there's gender identity issues. There's different types of abuse that's happened, physical and sexual, and you could name it. Financial. There's been financial issues, bankruptcy. The story is large, but at the same time, there's so many successes as well. So I want to be clear about the fact that yes, these things happen. Life still goes on, and Which thing do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, I know, but you just threw everything. Whoa! I didn't know about that. There were murders and suicides and depressions and anxiety, because it, in a way, many of them are kind of tie in together because one causes the other. I'm not a psychologist, a psychologist, just so we're clear on that. But what I'm just saying, a lot of them kind of weave into each other, and so that causes that. So okay, let's okay, you've been through that from from
And
the
one more thing, Furley, sorry to interrupt,
yeah.
is there's been a lot of actual like physical health issues as well that have come up. So that's also something that goes into the mixture.
How do you
And I
keep
can't
your
really tell people what's going on, like all the really cool things. But a lot of these things that I do came from these situations. So
yeah, but like this show is about Faces of Resilience, and so the whole place is that this place is I would say a sanctuary, so to speak, a virtual sanctuary for us to come clean with that. We, people who are listening to us right now would know that they are not alone, that many of us are going through breakups, physical abuse, emotional abuse, bankruptcy, finance disasters, and all that. And to the point of wanting to even take your own life, and you go through depression and anxiety. And so I'm sure so many people in our audience can identify in one or two elements of your story. And so, but the cool part about you is that you started with saying like you don't really want to go back there, but in a way, all of those experiences that you've been through in life somehow strengthened you and made you wiser. So I would start with considering all of the tsunami of adversity that you've been through. How did you keep your head together and not fall into a trap of depression and suicide?
mm. One of the biggest things is recognizing that it's not all about me. You know, really recognizing where I can be somebody who make a difference for other people. And one of the best things that I discovered was by being someone who's been in all of those situations, is that I now have, in a way, superpowers to be able to connect with people who are going through similar things. I may cry a lot in your podcast.
That's okay.
I cry a lot sometimes. It's funny because people see me often as like a successful business person, and I'm quite a leader. But when it comes to anything that's related to making a difference for the things that matter, I cry. Like even commercials or little things like that are just, most people may get a little teary eyed on. I cry.
Oh, you know what? I could just imagine if you were probably watching a movie, like because we see things a little differently. When you watch a movie or just even watch a commercial, a part of you goes back to a place where it is kind of connected with that message, and so that's why you get teary eyed, because you're getting emotionally connected. But like when you look at Amy, she's a very vibrant, happy person, and like she doesn't even know how to slow down. Like you are just like one of these multitaskers, and your creative juices just keep on flowing. So you said that it's not all about you, but there are so many people out there who do not know how to deal with the depression, the anxiety, the emotional abuse, the physical abuse, the demons that they're dealing with inside of them. What can you share with the audience in terms of how do you get out of that funk, and so you can begin to embrace a new beginning?
I'm going to share really authentically right now. So I'm going through some things with my kids. And this is the reason why I'm starting this project called the Happy Kids Project, to take children who are suicidal or have self-harm issues or have had that stuff before, and help them and their entire families transform their lives. Because what I'm getting, Furley, is that when something's happening with us or something's happening with somebody close to us, it affects us so deeply that we feel somewhat alone, right? Like it's just a natural tendency to try to solve things ourselves or really like make sense of things or figure it out. Um, and one of the things that I've been doing is I had to set a commitment that it doesn't matter who comes in, what offer or opportunity, or who needs what. I have a commitment now that I have 3 solid hours with my kids every single day for us to just be together. And before, it would happen where I would go and see one of my kids who was going through extreme depression and had suicidal tendencies. And they would push me away or they would get really angry. And I've done so much professional and personal development and things that I'm so equipped with tools. But when people are in that state, they're not open to hearing because there's a disconnect. It's like they can't hear you because you're not in their world. And I didn't want to go into their world because I came from that. I don't want to go back there myself. But I just gave up all of that and decided I was just going to be with my kids. And at first it was a big fight, huge fight. And very shortly after, they decided that they were going to be okay with telling their friends from 4 to 7 I'm with my mom. First, they were like calling me names and swearing at me, and how teenagers do that stuff, right? And now it's something that it's like, okay, well, it's 4 o'clock, it's our time. And at first, there was something that I felt like I was going to have to work with them on school, like they were really behind in their schoolwork and struggling socially and academically, and going through all the challenges that when someone's depressed, they go through. Like everything falls apart. So it feels like they can't get out. So instead of working with them to make everything better and try to fix stuff, we decided we were just going to be. And suddenly, just by allowing ourselves to be together, they're starting to take on little pieces of their life bit by bit. So I would recommend to someone who's going through something to just connect with somebody who cares about you. And if you feel nobody cares about
I
you,
love what you're sharing right now, and I would like to take a moment, the space, to be able to discuss a little bit of that, because so many parents are out there. It may not be that the children are going through very harsh issues, except that they get to a point or age that they feel disconnected. No matter how good a parent you are and no matter how good the intention is, you feel like you cannot communicate with them. And you said that they resisted it at first. How did you get from the point of resistance and the fighting, and to them agreeing to have that, be just being with each other moment from 4 to 7?
well, that was actually, it's a great question. And it was quite difficult because everything inside me, when my daughter would want to, like, she would want to have me be gone. Her big thing is leave me alone. Everything in me wanted to give up because it was like I kept coming up against that resistance. And then I had to keep going back to my faith. Just everything's going to be okay. Like my higher self is connected with her higher self. So no matter what is going on, no matter how frustrated I'm feeling, and no matter how frustrated she's feeling, I had to bring myself back to being peaceful and centered. And it took a few.
There was something that you have said before. You did not want to deal with it because you've been there. Wouldn't it have been better for you to, wouldn't that have already made you wiser and more knowledgeable on how to handle it because you've been there? Why would you refuse to go there in the beginning?
Okay, so you would think so. Um, for myself, I didn't want to go there because it's like I worried that I would be susceptible to falling back into that trap myself. I've
So
had attempts in
observation,
my life.
okay?
So I didn't want to go back there. And at the same time, it can be a valuable tool. But one of the traps that I ended up in was because I understood what it felt like and what my kids were going through. I let them get away with more things Like I gave them the benefit of the doubt for so much until there wasn't as much structure in their life that they needed. Like they needed the structure, but because I knew what they were going through, I didn't want to force that structure because it's a fine line. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, you know, they think very, very differently, and because I'm hearing many different messages, you know, a part of you wants to do self preservation, but there's also a part of you that's wiser because you've been there. There's also a part of you that want to be able to create a new way for you to be able to support their needs and their challenges and be there for them.
Mhm.
You know, and at the same time I say like a part of what you're sharing with me is like, okay, is that a pattern that usually repeats from generation to generation? Because I'm just, you said like you've been there. Okay, why is it repeating? What promoted that circumstance to be that way, and what can we do to prevent that from happening in the next generation? So, you know, we have to break the cycle some way somehow, and I can see that you're doing that right now. 4 to 7 is, you know, seems to be a lot of time for them to really commit to you. I mean, what superpower did you use for you to be able to get your kids to commit 3 hours of their time every day to spend it with you?
Okay, don't get me wrong. If they want to go do something, my daughter had an online birthday party. Okay, fine, no problem. We still connect. As long as we're connecting, I'm okay with it. But if we set it as a priority, then we get into habits of being with people instead of avoiding people. And you had asked another question before that, and I want to go back to that. But will you
Yes.
tell me what the question? Oh, generation to generation. Okay. Um, yeah, so it does go generation to generation. A lot of that is, you go, is it nature or nurture, right? So a lot of it is like psychological patterns that may be passed down. It may be experiences that we've gone through, because my family's gone through experiences that other people haven't, right? So, I can see that playing into it. But then my mother, who's also a very strong woman, she was in foster houses, different ones, and she had a lot of different traumas and things. So is that something that we learned, growing up, like, oh, be careful of this and that bad thing can happen, and you know, um, so I'm definitely determined to break this cycle. And the things I'm bringing in to do that are community, right, and having like an all around approach to working with people and families, so that they can have communication and they can have appreciation of each other's um, growth and development. You know.
Absolutely. The power of community, and you cannot do this alone. You need the support of people who understand you, who support you. Like that what you said about being nurturing. So am I correct in saying that the one thing that you have actually harnessed upon is to reach out to the community that would support you in changing the pattern, so to speak?
Yes, one of the patterns through generations in my family is not talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's like being outside one way and inside a completely different way.
Let's
And
talk a little bit about what's the name of your son, the transgender son?
quartz,
What's that?
his name's Quartz.
Course.
Quartz, like the crystal quartz, QUART.
Quartz. Oh, how beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that name. Your son is really cute. And there's so many people out there right now who are going through sexual orientation confusion, so to speak. Um what would you say to their parents to be able to cope? First of all, there are two sets of parents, like one that would say probably culturally, hell no, you need to be converted. You're just going through a phase. And there's obviously some parents that are saying, I would love you either way, and how can I support you? Okay, let's deal with the ones that, like, say for example, what would you say to those parents that may be culturally rigid in accepting the gender confusion, or like choices of sexual orientation? What would you say first of all to that group of parents?
I think the best thing that I could do would be to share what it was like for me and my child's dad, because
Oh, that would be great.
we have
Okay.
different opinions and different views on that. Oh, this is a tough one for like I want to share, and it's like so. Huh. So I'm a lot more open minded than he is. He has a homophobic background, and basically a lot of people who are afraid of other cultures or traditional changes and things like that, it's because it's been culturally taught, or they're afraid of something. There's some kind of fear within them. So I guess the best thing I would say is that we take out our own fears and we really understand what it's like for the person who's going through that. Like, I feel I'm meant to be a boy. I feel I'm meant to be a girl. If we get into their world and start to look at things through their eyes, things will make a lot more sense to us. And
How
these
did how did courts come out to you?
Oh, well, he's upset with me still because apparently he said I'm a boy, and I did not actually think that he was telling me that. I thought he was just like saying something. Like, sometimes people say stuff, and so I guess in the moment I laughed it off because I thought he was like just being like, we goof around and we imagine we say things, right? So I thought in the time that it was just something that people say. I had no idea that this is him expressing what he's going through. So we are having renovations done at our house today. So there are people like going, I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah. So he came out and he said that, but I had no idea that anything was going on. And then one day I had his father over, and we were having his father and his girlfriend and myself, and we were talking about the idea of going on a road trip. I wanted to have a TV show with my kids where we traveled, and we were creating this. So I had everybody together, and I said to Quartz, who did not go by Quartz at the time, I said, just let your dad know how you feel. Suddenly everything came out all at once. So I got to find out at the same time. And I was really actually like understanding. It's like everything started making sense to me in that moment. But the upset that was there with my ex, it became a little heated. And I'm not quite sure if he was more upset about what my son said, or whether, we were creating this, like, I'm going to take the kids away for a trip. At the time, it just like everything blew up.
Okay.
And then, we parted ways, but it was the greatest thing because it opened up communication. It's like without that honest, like, open dialogue, we can't understand each other. So after that, I started asking more questions, and then it was like, I knew before that my child had been like really full of rage and really like self-harming and all kinds of stuff, and I didn't know what was going on. After he came out, that slowed down a lot, right? But then now it's like, well, how do people in my life accept me? Because now I'm declaring who I am, and all these people don't accept him. So then it's still like a challenging thing. But I mean, he was ready to disown his father. Like, if my dad doesn't accept who I am, that's it. And for people who are wondering if it's just a phase or whatnot, it's possible. I mean, people go through things. I was in my 30s before I actually accepted my femininity, like my late 30s. I was not okay with the fact that I was female. I was really ticked off about it. I mean, I accepted it because I was female. The whole transgender thing and stuff, that never even crossed my mind. I wasn't even aware of that world. Like, the internet has brought so many things to so many people. But I love being a woman now. So
Okay. I got confused a little bit.
I know I'm great with confusing people.
No. I mean, okay, about you. Okay,
Yeah,
about you being feminine. Is there something I do not know that I that I
no. Well, yes, maybe. I don't know. It's just like there are people, and it doesn't matter which gender they are. There are people who are going to be wishing they were something they weren't. It's a natural human tendency to wish for things that we're not. And for myself, I was upset with the fact that I was a girl for most of my life, but I still accepted it because that's who I am. And it wasn't until I was in my late 30s I embraced it. So I was saying, for people who are parents with kids who are talking about this, it is possibly something that they will eventually accept about themselves, and then it could also be possibly something that um, they really hate about themselves. Like
Are
in my
you in a
son's,
relationship right now with the same sex as well, or are you
can you
no, like are you lesbian?
no,
No, okay.
no,
Because like I was confused for a moment about your identity. Okay, so
oh
basically,
no, I'm interested in people.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I'm in a relationship with a man.
okay, beautiful. Okay, thank you for clarifying that because I got confused there for a moment, and I'm sure some people would be asking the same question. What did she say? All right. So basically, as a kid, you wanted to be a boy, but basically, you embrace your femininity and being a girl when you were in your 30s. All right. Okay,
Yes.
beautiful. Thank you for clarifying that. And so, going back to Quartz, basically, what you were saying about him is that the first stage was that he was full of rage because obviously he had to hide his true identity, and then when finally came out to you, the parents, then it seemed like he was a lot more liberated and a lot more free to be himself, but now he is dealing with other people having to accept him as a boy rather than how he was as a girl. So how is that going right now?
Well, he's looking forward to his voice deepening. So he's 1 month away from going, not 1 month, so July, he'll be going on testosterone and his voice will deepen. He stopped singing at a very young age. Like, he used to have the most beautiful voice, but stopped singing. And now I know that it's because he didn't like the high pitch of his voice, because he's felt like he's supposed to be a boy the
Mm.
whole time. Even when he was like 3 or 4 years old, he used to talk about when he was a boy. Like parents may start to pick up on clues that go right back to when they're really young. That's another thing. Quartz had that, and Quartz really, for many years, has hated the changes happening with his body.
Well, obviously, it's going to be an ongoing process. What would you say to a parent of somebody who's going through the changes that their kids are having right now? How can they best support the children going through the sexual orientation discovery?
Well, first is to accept that you're not losing your kid, because that's one of the biggest things. Is like, sometimes I would get a little choked up that my daughter isn't my daughter anymore. But then it's like, wait, I'm gaining a son. So there's different ways to look at things. And also, the more conversations you can have with your child, where you can just like continually let go of whatever you're feeling to be with them, also helps. And sharing your feelings with people without making them wrong is another good thing. Like, I shared with my son that sometimes I feel like I'm losing my daughter, and sometimes that hurts. But I don't do it in a way that makes him wrong for it. Because if I'm sitting there judging him, he's going to stop talking to me. And that's the last thing that I need or he needs. Like, he needs somebody who's going to be in his court all the time, so that when people in the world aren't responding positively, then he's got that.
Does Squirt have any other siblings?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have another one, Sage, and she is lesbian.
Okay.
And she's actually having a harder time coming out and talking to anybody about that than Quartz did. So
Wow. Yeah, I love that it's very colorful, and I love that you are able to foster open communication so that they can feel, both Quartz and Sage could feel very open and and safe in their own skin and identity.
yeah.
Let's talk about happy kids. All right. Okay. Talk to me about Happy Kids. What is that all about? How does that support teens? You know, I mean, who are the people that are part of Happy Kids project?
Well, last week we formed a nonprofit, so this is very exciting. And started like we're starting it as a pilot project with 20 at-risk youth and their families. So what it is essentially like a self-empowerment, self-exploration, self-identity program for people to really transform their worlds. And there's several different teams that are going to be assisting these families. So there's a finance team who's going to help get everything set up for their families, maybe apply for things they didn't know about, like help to make sure things are followed through with so they have everything in place, and also go through things like the psychology and the financial mindset and things to really empower both the youth and the parents. There's communication team to help with the dialogue, as well as helping them express themselves the way they want to in the world. There's a house team that's going to help with like setting up minor home fixes so that like each person in the family gets to look at their home and see how they can make it something that they feel good in. Because a lot of times people are in environments that don't suit them, and everybody's mad at each other, and there's simple things that can be done. So we've got that, and then there's a self-empowerment catalog essentially with so many different healers and like experts of different things and personal interest things, so that the family gets to start with they get to start changing their lives in ways that they want to without having to pay for these programs or courses, and without having like the kids aren't going to have their parents telling them what to do all the time because the
Are this
parents.
all virtual? Are you, or are you going to have some live events for this?
So this is like where I am right now. It's all locked down. Like we can't even go and buy clothes at the store. So it's virtual.
Okay.
And we're starting in one municipality because that way the medical laws are the same, the educational laws are the same, because we're going to be looking at academics as well, so that kids can really like create their own identities and have themselves be on top of their games.
You are in Canada, correct?
Yeah, but this is something that can be duplicated, and so the nonprofit is formed in the States, and we're bringing it there, and a lot of our team members are American.
That's beautiful. You know, I love what you're doing because this is really truly very empowering for all of our kids. And I love the fact that you're doing it in a very holistic way, that there are many components to it, you know, because I'm hearing confidence, I'm hearing financial, you know, like anything. Yeah, there's art to it. That's really awesome because, you know, my spouse and I, Christine, my spouse is Christine, and we are also about empowering the youth in being able to have some kind of financial literacy, because we kept saying, how I wish when we were younger that somebody taught us the difference on how to get to be an entrepreneur, how to manage your money, because we don't know all of those things. Also with confidence, when I help you know, people confidence, because right now kids, all they do is this, right? And so they don't have the people skills to be able to communicate and have it become meaningful. I'd love to talk to you about that as well, on how I can bring value to Happy, you know, Happy Kids project, because that is absolutely amazing. Now,
It
you
sounds
also,
perfect.
yeah, okay, because there's so many layers to Amy. Okay, she is also a dream connector. She is also a creative healer. You know, like, can you talk to us a little bit about your business in being able to transform entrepreneurs in their businesses?
Oh, Burley, yes, I totally can. So first off, I have Where Dreams Connect, and we have a creative collaboration summit where people bring their projects and goals and dreams together, and we have them do speed dating for their dreams. It's really a lot of fun, and we connect a lot of people. And so far, we've had music albums produced, we've had books written, we've had empowerment projects across the globe, like Pakistan, like for women's empowerment, different things formed. So you never know, whatever project you're working on, personal passion, business, nonprofit, you can bring it to the event, and it's 3 hours. Super like,
Oh,
yeah,
I can't believe that it's like a speed dating, but it's going to be a dream creation event.
Yeah.
How cool is that? How unique? How did that come about?
So I like to do a lot of things. I'm an artist, as you can see, and
Is
I do
that your art behind you?
yeah, I have lots of different types. Like let's see.
Yes, that's a guitar.
Yeah, and these are actually all made out of words. Okay, so these are all
Oh, how
transformational
cool.
positive affirmation artwork. So there's no lines, but I
Oh,
teach.
how cool.
There's a mirrored thing on StreamYard, so
What is that? It's almost like, what's that called? That thing, the coloring book that you know that the coloring book for adults. What's that called? I forgot. Is that?
I've seen them.
But
Yes,
I'm just saying because I'm looking at it, and especially that butterfly with the different words. I love that. Oh my gosh, just the amount of detail that you put into it. How long does it take you to create, say, for example, one image with all of those things?
it depends on the complexity. So some of them can go for up to a week, and some of them can be like within a few hours. Like I think 5 hours is the fastest one I ever did, and but these are all. So I've done work for 25 years in personal development and happiness and success training.
Mm-hmm.
So those affirmations are very generic and not meant to trigger people. So these are actual tools to help people to elevate from wherever they're at and whatever they're dealing with. Also helps business people, but it gets your mindset right. So no matter what you're doing, you can move through things.
I
So
love it. I absolutely love what you do. It's very, very unique. I like the where dreams connect. If somebody wants to be a part of that, how do they reach out to you and become a part of this amazing different projects that you are doing right now?
do you want me to put it in the chat? It's
Yes,
success.
can you please?
Okay, so our website is wheredreamsconnect.com. And the email address, if anyone wants to message us directly, it's success at where dreams connect. Hopefully I typed that right. Yes, success
Yes,
at
yes.
wheredreamsconnect.com. And then the website is wheredreamsconnect.com. So we're having a summit. The next one is June 4th to 6th. Okay. And this is also cool. We bring in educators from all different fields, and their speaking spots are just 15 minutes, but they're very focused. And the people who come to the event get to choose between who they're going to be going to see, so that they're actually seeing people that are relevant to what they're doing in their life, right? So
That's very cool. Yeah, like for those attendees, is there a fee for them to attend that event?
no,
My goodness, what are you waiting for, people? Oh my goodness. This is your wake up call, okay? This is your wake up call. If you have a dream, you have something that you've been wanting to put it out there, this is the time for you to start doing something about it, because and Amy has a very, very unique way of seeing things, as you can very well see from her artwork. And also, because there are so many different layers of emotions in you, you seem to see things from a whole different perspective. You are also a spiritual creative healer. Is that what this is all about?
that
Or is
is,
it something
yeah,
else?
I do a lot of channeling. And one of the things that, how you said I have a lot of different ideas. Um, was in a brainstorming competition with 200 people once, and I won by an entire third more than the second place person. And so
Wow.
it's just they don't stop the ideas and the different perspectives. So that is my superpower. And if
I,
anybody is
I
ever trying
love
to
it.
figure something out, I could
Yeah,
probably help
yeah.
you.
Like I myself, like it's almost like I am a highly creative person myself, but I'm just gonna say like, maybe that's why, however many times, like our connection has fallen apart.
You fully. It's embarrassing. I've dropped the ball so many times with connecting with you, and I'm not normally like that. So
And so, you know what? But it's meant to be, because at some point we connect anyway, because it's almost like, hey, listen, okay, maybe it was not the right time yet, but things will happen when the time is right. Now, what would you say? Okay, so as I've said, we touch upon many different topics right now. We talked about dreams, we talked about the challenges of parenting for trans kids and teens. We also spoke about the different, having to handle the different emotional and psychological challenges that you've had in your life, right? Okay, so now going forward, here you are. There are people out there. We're in the midst of a pandemic, or at least hopefully getting over it, and now people are looking to step into their new beginning. What would you say? Can you give us three tips on what they need to do to be able to basically come into focus on getting them connected with their own dreams?
Okay, so this is going to sound a little biased, but the first thing I was thinking was to come to wheredreamsconnect.com and come to the summit. Even if you don't know what you want to do, that can be a project in itself. This is what I want people to get. It's like, I don't care what level people are at. Our company is here to support you with your dreams and goals, even if your dream right now is just to figure out where you want to go, right? So that would be number one, is register for the summit. The second thing would be to, start dabbling around with some things and seeing where your heart actually calls you, instead of trying to fix things. When you're trying to fix something, you're going to end up unhappy later on. So even if you put yourself in one area and it's around making, either I need to make money to do this, or I need to do that in order to do this. Over the long term, you probably won't be that happy. So look for something that really makes you happy. And the third thing is, if you can't remember what makes you happy, try to think back to when you were very small. Very small. It's like people would just give me crayons and leave me, and I was okay. And I resisted being an artist my whole life, but I am an artist, and I'm totally embracing that.
That is very, very powerful about really following your heart, because when things get really tough, when you are following your heart, you stick around and you keep staying on, and you keep charging through, even if it's getting tougher. As a matter of fact, when I once attended an orientation for college, when my daughter was going to college, and there a lot of the people there, a lot of the students have undecided, right, like on their major. And one of the questions that was asked there is that, how many parents in here think that your children will graduate with the same major that they enrolled in? And then maybe a few people raised their hands, and then the director said, "Dream on," because he said that most of the time in a 4-year college course, most students will change their majors 4 different times. And over our lifespan, we are going to change our careers 4 different times on the average. I think I tip the average because I've changed it so many times. But the whole point is that, I think it's because you will keep being pulled back to where your heart is.
Yeah.
And so that is a beautiful reminder, Amy, when you said even about as a kid, what brought you so much joy. It also reminded me of a classmate of mine who actually went to school to become a Supreme Court judge. And because it was what the family felt, she should do. But even as a kid, she loves drawing and animation. She became a Supreme Court judge, but now that she's going to be retiring, she says, I'm going back to school to study animation.
Mm-hmm.
No, because it will bring you back to where your heart is, and that will bring you so much joy, like what you're doing right now. Is it true from your own experience that when you've is it Mark Twain that says, find something that you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life?
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to share this. I went to university for biochemistry. I started in that. And that was, a lot of family driven stuff. And I was told that I wasn't good enough to be an artist in high school. So I didn't follow that. It's funny how one person's opinion.
I will never even see you as a biochemist.
Oh,
So
I love all sciences. Like, love
yeah,
it.
yeah, but I am telling you, I love everything that you're doing. I hope that we have its success at worddreamsconnect.com. Make sure that you attend the Word Dreams Connect event in June. Because that could very well be your wake up call. And also at the same time, if you are struggling to, in your business, being able to put yourself out there in a marketing way, in a very artistic, unorthodox, probably, because I see you as being very unique in your essence. I would reach out to Amy. Amy, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Same email address, success@wheredreamsconnect.com.
All right.
And it's not me who answers the emails, but I can always be gotten in touch with by my team.
Okay, that is so awesome. I hope you learned a lot from this segment, because we certainly touch upon a lot of different topics, that are, like, as you can very well, she's a multifaceted gem. And so, she just shimmers in her own light in so many different ways, and I could not be more thrilled to be, like you, to have as a guest, also to have you as a friend. And so, the next time around, no, we we need to be able to actually set up a day so we can actually explore the different ways that we can work together, how we can all bring value to your Happy Kids project as well, because what you're doing is absolutely phenomenal. So, Amy, any last words before we go?
Furley, you are amazing. Thank you so much. And one last thing to people, this woman here, Furley Alamonte, she met my children and she let them know that if they ever need anything, she's available. And she gave them her personal phone number. And I thought that was the nicest thing ever for somebody to do, to make sure that they knew that somebody else has their back who's in
I
their
mean it.
community.
My heart reach out to you, because I feel that your children are so beautiful, and you are such a shining light. And I said, hey, listen, let me be of service to you, because I understand them. I get them. I am one of those people as well, right? So, I fully support and actually the LGBT community as well. And so, anything that I can do to bring value into your life, I'd love to be able to be of service to you. So thank you very much for acknowledging that. Give my love to Sage and to Quartz, and I can't wait to speak with them. All right.
So
Um,
thank you so much. Bye,
all
Furley.
right.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay vibrant, stay positive, and shine in your own light. And most of all, follow your heart. Take care now. Bye bye.